is a full Python 3 basics YouTube course. So what we first need to do is we'll first set up computer for Python, then we'll learn about strings and variables. The third one will be numbers, integers, and math. The fourth one would be Booleans and conditions. The fifth one would be functions. The sixth, lists. The seventh is dictionaries. And the eighth is tuples. And the ninth is files. And the 10th is modules. And the 11th is inputs. And the 12th is colors. And the 13th is the try and except function. This function is very important for any applications that you do not want errors in. Then we'll have 3 projects. The first project will be colored calculator in terminal with try and except function. The second one would be project 2, and it will be a file reader and file writer. And the 15th one is project 2 add-on. We are going to create a file creator which is in project 2. Now the first thing is we need to set up our computer for Python 3. We will be using Python 3 in this video. How to install Python 3? What you need to do is go to Chrome or your browser and type Python in your search engine .org, then hit enter. Then you can click in downloads and click download. And once you have clicked download, click on the Python file. Then there is one important thing you need to do for this. You need to click add Python 3.9 to path. This is very important, so click on it. This will allow you to write Python code in an IDE. So hit install now. Then hit yes. Then it will install. When you are setting up it will take a few minutes or a few seconds. Once its setup was successful, you can hit close. If you want to make sure you have installed it, go to your Windows Start button and click on the hashtag and click on P. Once you have clicked on P, if you go to the P section, it will say Python 0.9. That is what we need. This is how Python looks like in the terminal of Python. But we can also write Python code in the CMD. Search CMD on your computer, then hit enter. To go to the Python terminal, just type Python 3, then hit enter. Or if that takes you to Microsoft, just type Python, then hit enter. Now we can see Python 3.9, that is our version and the date, and it's 64-bit. Okay, we have successfully installed Python. Now we must install a IDE. If you type IDE in Google, it will mean integrated development environment. Then you can type softwares. There will be many IDEs like PyCharm and Microsoft Visual Studio Code. But what we'll be using for today is PyCharm. And what we'll need for today is we'll install the community version. If you want more features in PyCharm, you can install the professional, but you need a free trial for that. So we'll go with the open source one. Once it's finished downloading, click on it. But if you are having an error installing Python, make sure you only have one type of Python version. And to find PyCharm, it will start with the J. So PyCharm JetBrains. So it has been installed. So let's click on it. Hit yes, then hit next, next. Then you can click on some of these, but you can also click on all of them. Then you can hit next. JetBrains is fine. Then it is installing now. This can take a few seconds or a few minutes depending on your computer. So this is going to take a little bit. If you are a Windows 10 computer that has 32.2 GB free, that will be fine for this YouTube course. So it is still installing. So let's wait. It will take a little time if your computer has lots of applications. Now it will say reboot. It will say reboot now, or I want to manually reboot. But we can just hit I want to manually reboot for now. Click on your PyCharm, then this should pop up. Then we can say don't import settings. Then hit OK. We will import the settings a bit later. Once we have done that, it will load up as this if you first installed it. Make sure your version of PyCharm is 2021.1.1. That should be good. So click on the new button. Then we'll call this. We'll create a new folder on our desktop. We'll call it Python Projects. We'll call it Python Projects YouTube course. Then enter. Double click on your file. Then click on the name of it and hit Ctrl A and hit Ctrl C. Exit out of it and and Control V that copied and hit slash Python project 1. Make sure you have dashes on each space. Then hit create. This will take a while because now it is creating the virtual environment. A virtual environment is an environment that you use in in Python. You can write code, but now we can hit close for the tips. This will take a little bit to create the virtual environment. And make sure your internet is online because we will be using the internet in this video. Okay, you all should be showed up with this code which does not make sense. So just Control A and delete it. And make sure you have one line. Then it will say slicing. And you can just wait for it, but this will take a little time, and we can continue on with the course. Now, the second step of this course is strings and variables. So first, let's set up a string. So it's slicing. So it's still syntaxing. So now it's done. So we can to create a variable, a string, you need to type double quotes around it. But it seems like it's still loading. Refresh your screen if it's taking a long time. Okay, once you have this line on it, that means you're good. So, hit Shift, double quotes, or you can just use only one quotes. So, it will automatically double the quotes by 2. Because to create a string, you would need 2 double quotes or 2 quotes. So for now, we can type any code in this, it does not matter. So we can type YouTube, Python 3 course. If we run this by clicking the run button on the right top side of it on this ID, nothing will happen. But if you want another way to, you can go to File, you can hit the run button here, or you can right click on your folder and run here, or do the same thing here. And if you're having an issue, an error, you can debug main. But nothing will happen now because we haven't written any code. This is just a string. So also, to create a comment, which is like a string, you can hit a hashtag and whatever things you like. But a comment is only used to organize your code. A string is used in variables and functions. But for now, we'll talk about variables. To create a variable, we will need to do this. To create a variable, we will need the name of the variable and an equal sign, then the answer of the variable. So the name has to start with words, or it can start with a dash. But any variable cannot start with numbers or symbols. So let's call this YouTube course, and we will equal to it to a string. So again, to create a string, you need two quotes. So once that is done, you can type YouTube course. It will not need a dash because it is just like English. If we save it, still nothing happens. If you want something to happen, you will type print. Print only can print stuff out with a string. So we will type YouTube course. It will show up as V in the front. Then you can hit enter to automatically complete it. Then you can hit the run button. Then you get YouTube course. But it's printing this str, which is the short for string. But if you want to see the type of it, you can say typ. It's a class. We'll get to classes in another video. So if we type, which is a class, and save it, and remember to put these brackets around a function or a class, or the print function. And the print function is a function. If we hit Control and hold on it and click on print, this is the meaning of print. It says print value, sep, and end, and files.system.pseudo-flush equals to false. But that is the basics of, that is the fundamental of Python. So if we hit save now and hit the play button, it will say class string. So it is a string. That str is short for string. Okay, we have finished the first lection. The third lection is numbers, integers, and math. So we can delete all of this, and numbers and integers are the same. We can create a variable called 1, and it equals to 1, the real number 1. You will not get any errors, but if we try to print out 1 and hit save and hit the plus button, we will still get 1. But if we type 1 there and 1 and 2 here and type it as a string as 1, then the plus button, which is math. It is math. So we can then 1, 2. Then if we hit the save button, we get an error. This error is a simple error. One thing we can do to get rid of this error is turn the first one into a str by typing str, which means string. Then two more brackets surrounding it. Then if we hit the run button again, we'll get 11. But 1 plus 1 does not equal to 11. It equals to 2. We're getting that because integer is a number that has no string values in it. But this one and 1, 2 equals 11 because we're just adding this like this. So if we want to add this and get it to 2, delete the commas, delete the quotes around the 1, 2, then delete the str around the print function with 1. Then we get answers 2. Remember, you cannot add a string plus integer. The integer always has to turn back into a string. So that is one part of math. There are 5 different parts of math. The plus symbol, which is addition, the minus symbol, which is minusing, and the time symbol, which is the star, and the divide symbol. And there will also be square symbol, but on your keyboard there will not be a square symbol. The square symbol will be it will be double stars. This will be it. So we can create 1, 1, 1, and copy this and create 5 of them. This will be 5. This will be 4. This will be 3. This one will be 2, 2, and the first one will be 1. Then we are creating a variable, so it equals to 1. All of these will equal to 1. Equal, 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 equal. So we can first hit print print 1, 1, 1 plus with no string in it, 1, 2. Then if we save it, the answer would be 2, because 1 plus 1 equals 2. If we do minus, it will equal to 0, because 1 minus 1 equals 0. And we can do times. This would equal, it equals 1, because 1 times 1 equals 1. And we can do divide and save it and hit 1.1. This would turn into a floating value. Anything that has a 0.0 would be a floating value. And to save your files, hit Ctrl S or just hit the save button here. Then hit Ctrl S again and you get a 0.1. But if you want a floating value by addition or subtraction, you can type float, then and more brackets surrounding the 1 plus 2, it will equal 2.0. That's how to create a floating value without dividing anything. Then we can hit times, then it will equal back to 1. But if we change this to be 2 and 2, it will be a greater number. It will equal to 4. That would be math. The next selection would be Booleans and conditions. Conditions will be a long one, but Booleans will be a very short one. To create true or false are Booleans. There are only 2 Booleans, true or false. A variable can be a Boolean like this. You can give it as true with no shift T, and it equals to shift T true. It will have no instance for it, and if it and there'll be false. It equals to false. This false would not have a letter here because it is only a Boolean. Booleans did not have letters in front of them. Then we can hit type. We can type true. True. So once we have that, we can change this. We can hit the plus button. Then it will equal to bool. That's short for Boolean. Then that is only Booleans. It's just a true or false value. Cake is sweet and that's true. Pizza is sweet and that's false. So, conditions. There are 3 types of conditions. There are if condition, there is an else, there is an if condition, there's an else condition, and there's an if condition. The elif condition is just the if condition and the else condition combined together. So, if this, we can use conditions and Booleans like this. We can give it a cake. Cake is sweet. That will equal to true. And a space here. And pizza is equal to false. It's not true. To use a conditional, you have to type if, then a variable like cake or a number, or then it equals to true. Then hit print cake is eat. Also, it will tell you the wrong spelling if it has some underlying things in a string or a variable. Cake is yummy. Or we could say cold. Then we could also say if. It's exactly like an if statement, but it has a weird name because imagine as conditionals as 3 parts there. So the top part, we'll call it as top. It equals to if, and the middle equals to elif, and bottom equals to else. What this means is if is a if statement. It's exactly like an elif, but an elif cannot go first like like if. It can elif can only start after the if statement, and an else statement can only start with the if statement or an elif statement. But this else statement always has to start with this if statement. So we can type pizza equals to false. Then we have to write 2 dots after you've written it equals to something. Then we can hit print. We can hit print pizza is hot. Then we can say elif. Elif does not use any of those equals to signs. It just ends with 2 dots. Then we can type it equals to print pizza and cake are food. Then if we save it, we get no errors because cake is cold. We only get that because we're only starting with the if statement. So if we want to make this work, you have to change this to back into into an if statement, then pizza is hot. But if you change this, if you just delete the elif statement, and you get it. But if I say is not equals to, is not, it's not. So another way to write that is equal to, and is equal to. So if we go to character, so is equal to, or exclamation mark is not equal to it, then see, we have to put the exclamation mark first. We have you have to, every time you do this, you have to put the equal sign last. Then if we do the same thing for here, then it's, see, we only get pizza is yummy. So that is conditionals. Next on our lists is functions. Functions is a little bit hard, but a little easy. To create a function, you can hit def. But if we hit Control Z all the way, but you'll get at the beginning, you'll get the def function again. That's how to create a function. If we hit one, then we can call it number. We'll call it number. So once we called it number, we can one would equal to str of 1. Then def number. Then we'll need two brackets. Then we'll need two dots. Well, then once we have those two dots, we could once we write in those two dots, we could give it a parameter. A parameter always goes in these brackets. We'll call this parameter as var. And it always has to start with letters. Then it will equal print. We'll equal to print f. Then we'll give it a variable as, we'll give it a parameter as var. If we delete that f, it will go back into some strings. We need that f. So once we've done that, if we do this, if to make it more interesting, you can see hi. Then if we say number, we'll get a var symbol. It shows var 1. Then if we save it, we get hi 1. That's def functions. So that's would be def functions. Next on our lists is lists. So, but before we do lists, we can take a break. We left off on lists. So lists. So to create a list, you need a variable. Let's call this variable list, and it will equal and it will equal to square brackets, and that square brackets can be apple, and put a comma after you finish the string, because that's how lists work. You need a comma after one part. Then watermelon, and grape. And if we print this, and if we see the type of list and save it, and we get a list. So we have perfectly created a list. If you're confused, if what you created, you can just do that. Then we can zero, square bracket 0. Then we can apple. But it's everything in Python starts with 0, not 1. So if we type 1 and save, we get watermelon. If we type 2, we get grape. So that's how lists work. Okay, now our second one is dictionaries. A dictionary can be used like this. We can create a dic by calling it dic, and we can equals to squirrely brackets. We'll call it apple, and it equals, and dot, which is the equal sign in dictionaries. It equals to apple. Then a comma. Then melon. Actually, we can call this differently. We'll call it 1, and we'll call watermelon to 2, and we'll call grape to 3. If we print out this dic, before we'll type. And if we play it, it's a dic. So we have successfully created a dictionary. If we print dic, we get this. But if we put square brackets 1, we can't use that. We use this apple. That's a parameter. It's a dic key. So it's a dic key. We get 1. But we can also do, because we always have to type we can create a function. So pause this video right now and see how you create a function for the type, so you can make it much easy. So pause the video and see what the solution is. Okay, the solution is to write def t then var print var. We can hit type the type of var. If we save this, I accidentally deleted the dic. And we type it as apple. But before we do that, we do paste that there. Then we call it as, we can delete the print function We don't need that anymore. We can type T. Save this and play it, and we get str. We're getting an str because it is a str. To fix that, we could delete that and delete this. That should fix. Yeah, now it's a dick. That should fix that. So keep that code. This is dictionaries and a little quiz for the functions. So for the next one is tuples. Tuples are exactly lists, but one thing about lists, if we create a list and it equals to and you give it like apple and water, melon and grape, you can also hit list dot append and you can say 1. If you save that and hit print list and save it, you get 1 here. So that you can append lists, but you cannot append tuples. And to create a tuple, you type you create a variable called tuple, whatever you want that variable name, and we create brackets. Then we do the apple, watermelon, then the grape. Save this. Then if we type tuple you don't get anything because you can't append anything to tuples. You can only print a tuple. Yes, so you can do that. So that's tuples. It's very short because it's just lists. And finally we add files, the little hard thing. We can still keep that. Wait, we don't need this anymore. So we'll create. This one is a little long. We'll create a file and we'll call it text.txt, just a text file. Then we'll call it YouTube course. You don't have to save that. There's no save functions. We can hit open text. And we can hit text.txt. It automatically, because it knows that. Then we can leave it blank and save this. Before you do that, in print, you need to create this as a variable. So text equals to that. Then type text. We deleted that function because it won't work. It will work, but we're going to get into some projects and some modules. You can't tell the type of a module. If you save this, we get io.text wrapper. It says text because it is a text file, but we don't get what's supposed to be as file because Python Python uses the type file for the type of the file. So if you save this, you get a bunch of stuff because we need to put a .read, then save it. Then we get YouTube course. We're actually reading text and converting it to an str in this thing. So instead of doing that, we can also do this. We can put a comma here, and type R for read. But we still get that. But we can set it to read or W for write. And if you type R plus, W plus, and call it text2 and play this, see, we get a text2, and it says nothing in it because we can do this. We can call it as text.write YouTube course 2. Then if we run it, we get exactly like that. Those are how to read a file and create a file. So, very simple. So, modules. Modules cannot be typed because they're modules. Modules are actually not even code. They're actually something else. See, to create a module, to import a module, you type import and the module's name. So what modules are used for? They're used for code that you need to create by yourself, but other people created it already. So like random. So we can hit print str because it's not a string. str, and we can hit random.ran range 1 to 10. We get 8. So this is random. Yes, so that's how you can do also. Also, if you have a question about integers. So there's also a way to convert the str into an integer, int, like that with 2 colons, brackets. But you cannot print it. You need to str with it. Also, you can hit as ran. So ran. You can rename that package, that library as ran. Random is now ran. Or we can do this. From random import ran range as RR. So if we hit print RR 1 to 10 and save it, we get 8. And it seems like we're lucky enough to get 8 2 times and the first time. So that's just packages, but also some packages are not bonded with Python. If you go to Py in pip.org, this is the it's the find and install publish Python packages with Python package index. So there's random, that's a built-in one. All of these are not built-in ones. You need to do these. So we can CV2. We won't be learning CV2 now in this course. But you go to CMD, type pip install CV2. CV. That's what it says. Then requirement already unsatisfied. But that's what happens when I already installed it. You'll get a big matcher package, because if I show it in here, if you go to the terminal, which is this button, and paste that exact same thing, it says collecting, and it already did because it's very short. Okay, now we're on input. Yeah, input. This input is actually very simple. You need a variable for it. We call it in. Oops. This imp equals to input. Then a prompt. We'll keep it as enter number. Then we can put 2 dots. This is just a string. Then we can hit print input. Then if we 1000, if we do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, enter. Wait, oopsies. We should put this as im. No, 1, yeah, we get it. So inputs are just inputs from the person. So once you've done that, that's inputs. It's very short, like always. So what's next is colors. Colors are my favorite because there's 2 colors. You just type in Google B colors in Python. Go to this Stack Overflow page and copy this big line. Control C it and paste it. Then to shorten it out, type def blue, then blue text print. We're going to get a error, but it's not an important error. It still runs, but it's kind of an error. We can type B colors dot blue, oak blue. What it says. The plus B colors dot bold plus F. That's a string format. Text plus B colors dot end C. That's short for B colors dot end color. So if we type this as it looks like, so let's call it a var imp equals to input as blue. Enter number 1, enter number, and print imp. You should get something. See, you get it, but you get this none. To delete that none, another way to print something is by returning it. You can only use the return function in if statements or the functions. So if we save it and play it, we don't get that. So that's progress. See, but we also need to do this. We need this as blue. And if we play this, we get the thing. So this is B colors. It's very short. As you can see, there's header, which is this purple, oak blue, oak crane, and oak green. All of those are just the colors without oak. And then warning is yellow, fail is red, ends is end color, and bold and underlined. You can create functions for this. But what we can do is there's also a Python package called pip install B colors. Enter it we get it, and what we can do is we can do this. A new Python file main2.py. What we get it at this, we can import B colors, or we can just do the old way. Hit Control T in Google and copy this again. It's a class. It says class in the first. We can create this def blue text print B colors .n oak blue plus B colors bold plus f dot text. It's a parameter in the function blue, and then B colors dot and we can actually I forgot, we have to change this into return. That's better. Copy this, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're getting some warnings. I'll call this cane, which is green, purple, yellow, forgot the W, and red. So actually 5. So we change the name, but we also have to change the names of the color. We'll call this one cane, which is a function. Then we'll call this green header warning, and it's called fail. Save it. But now we have created our own local package. It's not in the web right now. That'll take a little process to do. It's not in this course, but you can do this from a main to. It's not like a packet, but it's like a package, but it's a local package. Import all, which is a star. Now what we can do is blue text. Then it's getting an error because we have we'll call it blue. Cane. Green. Purple as purple. Yellow as yellow. And red as red. But this should get is a rain. We didn't get anything for some reason. Oh yes, we only returned it. What that means is we need to print it. We forgot to print it. We'll save this, and we get rainbow. So everything works good. So it's fine. It's good. So it's project time. Yes, project. Right, actually, it's try and accept functions. Try and accept functions are very important. If we do this, try, and enter double times accept. This is how you create a try and accept function. So we'll call this as print str. This is a hint for the calculator project. Integer plus integer divided by integer. We'll call this 10. Actually, we need this 0 and 3. We'll get an error anyway if we do this by this self. So we'll comment these out. We get an error. So uncomment these out and hit print red cannot define, cannot divide. Save it, and we don't get errors. It just error sealing it. Okay, that's just try and accept blocks. So now it is project time. The first project is the project one, colored in terminal, calculator in terminal with try and accept function. This is gonna take a while. You first need to type a before, and one more thing. There's a little course uncounted in this one that's not in the list. It's a while function. So to create a while function, you need a variable called true, and we'll call a while function that run. That means if run is active, which is true, then it'll run. See, print 1, and it's infinite. Wait. Save it, and see we get infinity times. But then hit run equals to false. We get an execute and process where the execute. So pause this video and try to create the project one, which is colored calculator in terminal with try and accept function. Pause this video right now and find the solution. Okay, time for solution. So what we need to do is type exactly what I did. Run equals to true, which is variable, and 1 while. Then we need 3 functions. But it's button 1. Oopsies. 1 equals to input blue equals to text. Then enter number 1. Copy this big line of code, paste it 3 times. 2 and 3. Then we'll call this one 2 and this one plus, minus, times, divide, and square root. Square. I'll give this as this is condition. This is the condition lines. If button 3 is equal to plus, then we would do we would do a try and except block, except print red. This is the except block. Try again. Then hit continue. You can only use continue block things in a while function, and there's no thing for continue. It's just a continue. Then in this you can create a variable called p for plus, and it equals to str integer in a str integer in the str button 1 plus integer button 2. Then hit print blue answer plus p, and we'll call this a floating value. We'll make that a floating value, which is much better. With str, that's a floating value, is not a str. So a bunch of code for it. This part, we'll copy this, paste it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good. Button 2 is minus m, and we'll call this m and minus. And this one would be divide d and wait, actually this is times time times, then this one is divide, then d then square root. Wait, I think yes, we have square root. Then paste this and times as s. Then s also you may see if we delete this s here, this s actually if we do this as a d, we do so what I'm trying to say is we're creating not global values. These variables are only in this if function. If we want a global value, we just type global and we just put in that function. That's one more thing. And save this, and we need L. We can call this as elif L and the last one and L. Okay, we're almost done. We just need one more thing. Button 4 is equal to input input, we need a blue here, and enter E to exit, or C to continue. If button, or and we also need this button 4 dot lower. That means lower. So what this just means is we're lowering it. That means if the person writes uppercase E, Python gets it as a lowercase e. So we'll call it, and if you want upper, you just type upper. If you want uppercase, then we'll give it as if button 4 is equal to E exit and exit elif there's a mistake, it's supposed to E, then C to continue, then elif else just continue. If we run this, we get exactly what we need. Plus we get 224, that then a C, then it goes back to 3, then 0, then we hit divide, then try again. So everything's working. One project is done, but before we continue, let's take a break. Okay, that is the end of our break. Now let's get back to where we were, which is two of the projects. One is the project 2 file reader and file opener, and project 2 add-on file creator plus project 2. Please pause this video and try to get the solution. Okay, here is the solution for project 2. First, from main to import all, then create a variable called run and equal to it as true. Then while run is equal to true, create a while loop that is used run, then create a file like this, like a text just I just created. Then you can create a variable called button1 is equal to input blue and make it as enter file name, and then 2 dots. Then copy the same thing and paste it one more time. Then enter R or W. And once we done those, we can put the comma and add both of these, then equals to read and equals to write. Then open button 1. Before we do that, we can hit the try to open to create a variable called button1, file, create a file. File equals to open, which is a function, and give it as button1 plus a comma, then button2. Button2. This should work. Then hit accept. Print red. Sorry. Try again. Then hit continue to continue it, and continue functions only work in a while if it's in a while function. Then once we've done that, if button2 is equal to, before we do that, we could do this. Button2 dot lower to lower it. Then if button2 is equal to R, then print file dot read, and we'll print this in blue. Then an elif then a W for write. Then we need to create a variable called button3 is equal to input blue, enter text. Then once that's done, hit we'll do file dot write button3. And once that's done, we can copy the ending of enter to exit, and that then we can paste it here. If we play this and hit text.txt, then I want to read it, then we get 1, 2, 3. Then enter, then C to continue, then enter file name text.txt, enter, and write in it 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Then you could go see text.txt, and I want to read, then I want to exit. And one more thing, put 2 dots after the continue sign. That is it for the add reader and file writer. Now let's move on to the add-on file creator. This is kind of simple, but let's get to it. So before you do anything, create a button just called button, and equal to input blue, enter N for new file enter N for new file, or E for existing file. Then lower this again, button dot lower and enter. Then if button ton is equal to new, is equals to n, then we can hit pass. Pass is just some code that you'll write later. So shift control click all of this. Then tab it using the tab button. Then elif button equals to e. Then the easy part is we're almost done. We can copy this and remove the pass and put that in. Then all you need to do is just hit the plus button and put the plus. That's all we need to do. So a new file. File name file.txt and move this down a little. Then enter. Then I want to write in it and I'll call it 1 2 3 3 2 1. Enter, exit. We get file and we get 1 2 3 and like we write it. See, this is the end of this YouTube Python 3 crash course. I hope you like it. Subscribe and like this video. Thank you.